Hey everybody, how's it going? Josh here, and welcome to the first 2020 episode of the HNEpod here. And today I'm joined by a special guest, Jackson, who I'm going to let introduce and say a little bit about himself. Jackson, welcome to 2020.
Hey, same to you, Josh. Great to be in a new decade, new year, fresh things. Hopefully, everyone has a positive year. If you don't know me, I'm Jackson Hayes. I'm editor-in-chief of FullCircleCinema.com, and I'm a features editor over at CBR.com. So I'm all over the place, doing work around and keeping up to date with all the movie nonsense and stuff. So yeah, we're excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so obviously we have tons of stuff to talk about today with the year wrapping up and the new year beginning, not even just new year, new decade beginning. And if 2020 is anything like the 2010s, I can't even imagine what this will be like in 2029, 2030 when we get to that point. I mean, the change that we've seen in the last 10 years is just insane, both with the streaming stuff and just movies in general, I think. Like the cinematic universe, how that's become such an expansive thing across multiple studios. It's just kind of blows my mind to think about that. Really, a lot of these they were around 10 years ago and more, but they weren't nearly the same type of machine they are today.
No, I mean, 10 years ago, at this point, we were at Iron Man 2 in the MCU. And I mean, looking
Yeah,
back
just
at
about
it,
that.
yeah, it feels like 100 years ago. So, it's so different now. I mean, the world is immersed in this universe and in the Star Wars universe. We've had an entire new trilogy of movies within this decade and two solo movies that have come, or two spin-off movies that have come out. Now we're moving on to the Disney Plus shows, and we've already just finished the first season of The Mandalorian. 10 years ago, I would never have thought we would have gotten a live action Star Wars series. But now we've already finished the first season of one, and it's coming back next year, and there's two others in the works. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
The topics we have here today, for those who like skipping around to certain things, if you're listening to the whole thing on SoundCloud or Spotify versus the different segments on YouTube, the first topic is going over top 5 anticipated movies / TV shows for 2020. Then the second topic is just kind of looking back at 2019, saying what we thought was, or I guess what we thought was the best and the worst movie / TV show respectively. And then we get into some news discussions because Disney Plus has kind of announced a few things, and then some of the Disney Plus Marvel shows have had things which I guess technically are currently rumors, but seems pretty trustworthy to believe 95+% it'll probably happen. And then last but not least, since both Jackson and I have seen Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, we're just going to talk about it a little bit. Some final thoughts since we've had time to marinate post viewing the movie. Getting into the second topic here, with 2019 come and gone at this point, in your opinion, what was the best movie / TV show and the worst? I don't know if you want to start with the best first, and then we can go to the worst, or maybe we could start with the worst. Which one do you think?
I'll start with the best, just to get my praise out of and then we can talk about the worst I have. The best movie I have, and I still feel this way. I've been catching up with the Oscar movies here in recent weeks, watching things like Uncut Gems, Marriage Story, all of that, trying to catch up. But still, number one on my list by the end of the year is Joker. The feeling I had watching that movie, I couldn't take my eyes off of the screen. I was like fixated on it. The way it's shot, the way it's acted, the world they put you in of Gotham. It's unlike anything I've seen in recent years, and it made me feel just like gross and dirty in a good way, like in the way that you're supposed to, like you're immersed in this horrible world that's just down on everything, and the main characters just beat down the entire movie, and you feel it with him. And once he breaks, like it's not something that you agree with, but it's something you understand. And I think that's what they wanted to go for. And I think that's what all movies should go for. The choices you don't have to agree with, but if you can understand why that person did what they did, then it's you can understand the movie itself. And I just think Todd Phillips and his team and Joaquin Phoenix did such a good job with that movie. I mean, it blew me away. I mean, I'd heard good things, I'd heard bad things, the script leak and all that, all the stuff going around, all the discourse about it beforehand. I just wanted to go in and see the movie, and I did, and I was blown away. So
did you have a separate best TV show also, or just movie?
So best TV show, I will go Barry on HBO. I have not caught up with Watchmen. Some people over on my team is definitely are upset with me about that for sure, because they keep going on and on about watching Watchmen. But
Yeah, I was late to that party.
yeah, I still haven't caught up. I was really fixated on the CW Crisis stuff. I was catching up on other shows and stuff before that when Watchmen was on. But Barry on HBO, I love that show to death. I think Bill Hader is incredible. I think that show's just so witty and funny and unique. And I just love that, you know, it's from the mind of Hader, and he just came to HBO and said, I want to make a show about a hitman who wants to be an actor. And you're like, what? And you watch it, and it's just everything. It's a lot of stuff that you would never think that you would want to see, but then you watch it, and it's incredible. It's one of the most original shows I've ever seen. So yeah, definitely Barry season 2 from this year is my standout.
For me, actually, for best movie, and I don't know if you've seen both of them or not, it's between Us or Parasite.
Yeah.
Both of them, I mean, they're just so good in oddly similar ways, actually. Like, I think there's some overlapping themes here and there between the two films, but I want to give it to Us just to edge it out, just for personally. Like, I thought I enjoyed it more, and I just leaving that movie, not only was it thought provoking on certain thematical elements and just the story in general was pretty thought provoking, but I just thought it was very well done, especially, you know, Jordan Peele kind of hitting it out of the park again after his previous attempt with Get Out. I mean, to kind of basically bat 2 for 2 is pretty impressive, I think, even though the director of Parasite's phenomenal as well. I'm not trying to discount him. When watching Us, I mean, from the trailer to the end of the credits, I was pretty intrigued, honestly, by the mystery of the story. I thought at one point it'd be cloning or something, you know, like maybe some Nazi scientist thing. I wasn't really sure where it was going to go into the film, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but definitely it's well worth the watch if you can watch it. I don't think it's on Netflix, but I think it's on Vudu for those who have that video streaming service, and it should be on not Netflix, but like Redbox might have it, or
Yeah, absolutely. You can rent it. You can find it.
yeah, you can find it definitely at this point. I mean, it's definitely worth it if you have to search for it a little bit. And for TV show, originally, like I haven't really watched that much TV this year, at least not like new shows. At least I've been watching some older ones like Dexter, which I've enjoyed until getting into the later seasons. And obviously, You season 2, which just came out, I watched that, and definitely I didn't expect the stuff that happened in it to happen. No, I'm not going to spoil anything, but Watchmen for sure, I would say was my favorite and probably the best TV show I saw, just because of the way they went about not only adapting the graphic novel, but then continuing it in a relatively fresh way, but also with some interesting callbacks. Certain callbacks they have to things that happen and characters that never really had that much spotlight in the graphic novel. It just kind of blew me away with how much they use that to add new dimensions to the Watchmen universe. And then also once Dr. Manhattan came into the picture, you know, that whole revelation, if you want to call it that, and really what they set up with that, I thought was really cool. And just obviously the acting, the direction, everything about it was rather well done. The only complaint I think people could honestly have, for the most part, is when Dr. Manhattan was reintroduced, it was a little up and down with regards to like how he was displayed. Like sometimes he was glowing and he had just the white eyes. Other times he had pupils and he was basically just painted blue. I mean, I'm sure budget reasons were involved, but it did kind of, the inconsistency of his presentation was probably jarring to some people based on feedback I saw online. But Watchmen, definitely, Jackson, you got to watch it when you get a chance. It's worth it.
100%. And I'm absolutely going to catch up. I mean, I've heard nothing but great things. So I'm a fan of the Snyder movie. I'm a fan of the book. So I'm going to watch it at some point. But before we jump to the next topic, Us. I loved Us. I'm one of the biggest Jordan Peele fans around. Get Out is one of my favorite movies of all time, and Us is sitting number 3 on my list for this year, and it hasn't moved since it came out. Basically, it's an incredible movie. And I think people have issues with the way it portrayed at the end with the big reveal, but I think it works perfectly. I think it's so unique. And another home run for Jordan Peele, and I can't wait to see what comes next. So much so that I almost put the Candyman reboot on my most anticipated list. But he's only a producer, but still, and he's going to have the influence but I'm not a big guy for scary movies. So it's a weird relationship with me and Peele because I'm not a scary movie guy at all. I can't help but see his movies and love them every time I see them. So,
but getting into TV shows, what was your favorite TV show?
Other than Barry.
Oh wait, we already did that. I'm blanking.
I mean, I can have another one if you want to talk about it.
No. Well,
oh, yeah.
Well, I guess what is it? Since we're on it, I meant to ask what the worst one was, but
yeah. I mean, I will say this, so we can. This will be an easy segue. I didn't watch much bad TV this year. I avoided it on purpose.
That's a lie.
Listen. I know there's so much TV, but I did my best. Other than just throwing the CW shows under the bus, but I'm a shill. I enjoy them for what they are. I'm not going to hate on them, so I'm gonna avoid worst, and I'm gonna go to another best just to throw it off. Right. Ava DuVernay's When They See Us on Netflix, that came out earlier this year. It's an incredible show. I mean, it's a mini series, 4 parts, shot basically like a movie but cut into 4 pieces. It's such a hard watch, but it's such a necessary watch, and it was really something that opened my eyes to a lot of things and just the issues of today. And I thought it was really timely, and it's something that people should watch, in today's current climate. So. If you haven't seen that, I really do recommend it. I mean, it's a little over 4 hours, 4 episodes. I watched it straight through. I couldn't stop. I ended up staying way too late in the middle of the night, but I couldn't stop watching it. Couldn't take my eyes off of it. So yeah, if you haven't caught that, I would definitely recommend it.
Nice. Yeah. And for everyone that's listening, if you haven't, I mean, I think they might be shutting it down soon, but the servers will remain with the Warner Media service. But DC Universe, a lot of the shows that were on there hit it out of the park. I mean, Titans.
Oh, absolutely. Doom Patrol.
There are definitely parts of Titans that will make you kind of facepalm. Don't get me wrong, especially near the end regarding a certain character and electricity. But besides that, Swamp Thing, Doom Patrol, Titans,
and Harley Quinn. If you haven't seen Harley Quinn
as well,
they're still airing Harley Quinn.
Young Justice.
I've seen the whole first season of Harley Quinn, and I don't think they finished airing it, but. It's oh my god, it's so good. It's so good, yeah. and Doom Patrol is very great. And I mean, we reviewed the whole each episode of Titans on our YouTube channel, and it got rough there towards the end. At some points we were just yelling into the microphones about how upset we were, especially the last episode. Oh man, that was an episode for the ages because we just spent almost an hour just going off on the show. But it's a love-hate relationship for Titans because there's some stuff in Titans that I adore to no end. Yeah. And I do recommend people watch it. You should watch it and form your own opinion. I just have so many issues with it by the end of it. But yeah, the DC Universe shows, people sleep on the service, but there's some quality content on there. And Stargirl's coming this next year, and it'll simulcast on the CW. So if you can't watch it on DC Universe, you can catch it on the CW. But I'm definitely looking forward to that one as well.
That perfectly segues into the worst part, actually. The things you were saying about Titans, how near the end of it, it kind of skipped a little bit here and there. Because my worst movie is Dark Phoenix.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that's definitely, I think, the current textbook definition of at the finish line, all you got to do is just not screw up. Just play it safe, live to fight another day kind of thing. And they fell so flat on their face, sending off the X-Men before the whole upcoming migration, presumably to the Marvel stuff. So it's actually funny. HN instituted earlier this year a new grading system for like movies and things like that. And of course, the first one to get an F was Dark Phoenix.
I mean, deservedly so. It's a very rough watch. It's a very rough watch because nothing is earned in that movie, but they do it anyway. And that's kind of the worst part is that they do these big payoffs, but none of us really are there with them. We're just along for the ride.
Yeah, the worst part to me was everyone saw it coming a mile away. As soon as with the director stuff, it's like that storyline's cursed for some reason with Fox and everything whenever they try adapting it. In my opinion, it just blew my mind how everyone a mile away could call that it was going to be a train wreck. And it literally had a train wreck in it, but it also was that bad. I mean, usually a movie's never as bad as people hype it up to be, but this legitimately exceeded all terrible expectations. It kind of blows my mind.
It honestly. Is not a good movie. It's not in any way a good movie. Were there tiny bits and pieces, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll give you that one. I'll give you this here or there. Sure, but it is not a well-made movie. It's It's definitely on the bad side of Fox Marvel, and there's a lot on that side. There's good stuff as well, but there's a lot of bad, and this definitely falls in the bad category. And it went out, I guess, the way they wanted it to, which was to meander to the finish line and just ride off on the sunset with the little bit of money that they made from it. So, what else could they ask for? They screwed it up with Apocalypse, and they had no way to fix it.
Yeah, it was like running a marathon with 2 broken legs. That's the best way I can describe it.
But the fact that you started the marathon in a car, you were in a car, you were driving, and somehow by the end of it, you had 2 broken legs and you were crawling across the finish line. It's pretty sad.
God. But my worst TV show, actually, and I debated hard on this because just like you said, overall for TV content, I saw some pretty good stuff. I didn't really waste a lot of time watching terrible shows, but excluding the CW stuff because that's limited by various means, I would say the last season of Game of Thrones wasn't terrible, like as in worse quality, but I would say with regards to disappointment, definitely Game of Thrones, because there were signs for. Wait, did you watch it before I say anything? Okay.
Yeah, totally. It's a fair conversation. You spoil whatever. I think if you haven't watched it by now, you're not gonna. Yeah. You're not going to, or you may not want to.
Yeah, Dany's fall from grace, if you want to call it that, it was telegraphed for, I guess, a few seasons here and there, technically. Just the way they sped through a lot of stuff. They didn't really give you time to breathe through things, to really, like Cersei, right? I'm struggling to say it because I know some people are going to be listening to this, and I don't want to spoil it for them because I still want them to hopefully watch the other episodes that constitute the series, season by season, because it's good. But for some reason, this final season, they just dropped the ball on really fleshing things out and really giving a proper conclusion. I think part of that is because they dedicated too much time to the whole White Walker storyline and the Night King storyline. So once that wrapped up, they didn't have maybe enough time to properly flesh out certain things, which is dumb to me because HBO supposedly offered the showrunners as many episodes as they wanted for the final season, and they told HBO, we don't need extra episodes, we just need this tight bunch. But in hindsight, they probably could have used an extra 2 episodes to really, I don't know, I just think when it's as rushed as it is, but there's no reason for it to be as rushed as it is, it doesn't do it any favors because the conclusion's already rather unsatisfying. So between water bottles appearing on set and stuff like that. Starbucks.
Yeah, I'm with you, but here's the thing. I enjoyed 4/6 of the last season. The first 4 episodes, maybe in context of the whole series, maybe episode 2 was a little small. I loved it because it was just so personal to the story. Right before the Battle of Winterfell, and then the battle itself, I thought it was a great episode. Maybe the stakes weren't there. They didn't really kill anyone of real note. But the way the Night King just kind of ended, and they didn't pick up the thread again. It was just kind of over. Definitely a lot of issues there, but the way they made the first 4 episodes, I thought I really enjoyed them. In the larger context of the show, they are very problematic, and I'll completely agree with that. The last 2 episodes were a mess, and they weren't good, and they weren't worth the time and the effort we spent 8 seasons getting to. It was a disappointment. Dany's turn, even though it was telegraphed, they had the opportunity to go the other way, which would have subverted a lot of expectations, but instead they just sped it up in a Previously On. They just, they told us what they were going to do in the Previously On rather than letting it happen naturally in the show. I have a lot of issues with her turn the moment it happens. I could go on for hours about that, just about how it's set up and they just do it to do it because that's what they want to do rather than it's what actually the character would do in that moment. But they, Benioff and Weiss made the choices they did. Where there are still 6, depending on your opinion, 6 or 7 great seasons of television. And it's worth the watch. And I love Game of Thrones, and I'm disappointed in it the way it did, but I'm still all right because the journey was better than the destination, even though I was really looking forward to the destination itself.
Yeah, I guess that's what matters at the end. The journey of watching the shows with all the characters. But whenever I just think about it, it hits me the wrong way. Yeah,
absolutely.
Just like I don't know why for some reason 2019 was the year of a lot of finales for things, whether it's trilogies, whether it's TV shows, whether it's, I guess, other movie franchises such as X-Men. A lot of finales fell short in a very disappointing kind of aspect, which is just really shocking to me, honestly. But
the only one that really, the Infinity Saga at least ended on a high note. I mean, that's not, the franchise isn't over by any means, but that portion of it, that bit of it, those few characters that did move on, they figured out how to do it at least, which is crazy because they might have had the most content to, they had 22 movies to line through, and they did it, with gangbusters. But yeah, Game of Thrones was not the ending anyone wanted. And I definitely hope that this prequel series, and I don't need them to pick up anything from Game of Thrones. I just need it to be its own thing and to take the franchise in a new direction.
Yeah, well said. Getting on to the next topic, just talking about more lighthearted than the previous stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I guess that's it for this episode. Feel free to check out Jackson on socials, and well, I guess I'll just let you say it, since you know the ways to get to you better than I do.
You can follow me at JacksonHayes67 on Twitter. That's where I do most of my social mediaing. And, check out my site, fullcirclecinema.com, and, check out H&E and watch all the H&E stuff,
See, now I'm all revved up from the Star Wars, but
yeah, I know. It's hard to come down.
That. Yeah, have a happy New Year if you guys are listening all the way to the end. Hopefully that last topic wasn't super divisive, I guess. I guess I'll say that much. Definitely, hopefully it goes over better than the previous HNEpod episode where we had a segment about toxic fandom. That went very poorly reception-wise with a lot of people. Well, a lot of people didn't listen to the whole thing. They just see the title and they react. Yeah, thanks for listening. If you have, go check us out on SoundCloud, Spotify for the full audio version, or if you're listening to the segments on YouTube, check out the other segments. Hopefully you guys like what you guys hear, and leave any feedback in the comments below. We'll see you guys later.